When you thought it was over, when you thought it was dead and buried, it made a return. Just like that horrible rash you got when you sat down on a Greg stool. Welcome to the Binding of Isaac Repentance, where today I actually want to talk about the future of this particular channel. Minor, very minor things, unless you are very heavily invested in this channel, at which point, my God, you are in for a you're in for a lot of trouble, pal. So, I also played a little bit of Isaac, a tiny little bit of Isaac, when I had time to play Isaac, and I have unlocked Tainted Isaac, which is a character I've personally been looking forward to playing. Someone that I've heard is a lot of fun to play of all the Tainted characters. I think the best way to describe it is uniquely frustrating. I have an idea of how the mechanics work, but I don't know specifically how the mechanics work. I've obviously never played him before. Now, as I mentioned briefly, no less than 30 seconds ago, I wanted to talk about specifically the plan for this particular channel. Okay, here we go. So the way this character works is it will jump between two items on a pedestal. And I believe you only can take, as we can see there, below the kind of health bar, I think you can only take 8 items. So it really is up to you what you want to rely on here. And I think for us in this situation, I'm going to go with Glaucoma, because a spacebar item taking up 1/8 of our total items is not a good deal unless it is an incredibly good item. At least in my very brief opinion. I mean, I've not played this character before. It's a very uninformed opinion, but this is the internet. Most opinions tend to be. So anyway, I want to talk about the future of this channel, and specifically what I want to do with it, and kind of how that will impact the main channel, and kind of everything going forward. So, to cut a long story short, Skyrim has gone on for a very long time. And I do genuinely want to start wrapping that up very, very soon. Not so soon. I want to, given that it's been, you know, three series of build-up with Oblivion and Morrowind, and it has also been hundreds of episodes now of this same, over 100 episodes of the same series. To give it a bad ending would be discourteous to the previous 3 series and hundreds of hours of work and episodes and etc. etc. However, Skyrim has very much overstayed its welcome. And I don't mean that in the sense that I'm not enjoying playing it. I am enjoying playing it. I just feel like the second channel for the past 2 months has been the Skyrim experience. And for people who don't enjoy Skyrim, that's not an ideal situation. Basically, for the past 2 months on my channels overall, if you haven't enjoyed Skyrim, you haven't enjoyed RimWorld, you've been pretty much out of luck with content, with the exception of Isaac, of course, being an oasis in the desert of frustrating content. And obviously Noita, which is going to be a kind of semi-consistent feature on this channel especially. So my plan for things going forward is when we've wrapped up Skyrim, which again I will let it go at its own pace, I'm going to be a bit more actively cognizant of it having now run for 100 series. I'm going to be actively aware that I would like it to close up. Again, I'm not going to say that's going to have any impact on things, but I might be maybe a bit more aggressive with... shit, completely forgot this character worked then. I'm going to be a bit more actively and acutely aware of the fact that it has run on for over 100 episodes and we've still got quite a lot left. We've still got quite a lot left. Soulstime, the entire Dragonborn DLC, which is obviously quite expensive, particularly as we do need to do a lot more than you normally... Fuck, I'm starting again. I'm frustrated in my own... Mainly because I accidentally picked up Mum's lipstick rather than old bandage, and that alone is frustrating enough to start again. Anyway, you know how the character works, so we'll say this is the real attempt now. You know, we got Soulstime, we got the Dragonborn stuff to do, we've got the Dark Brotherhood that we're kind of halfway through at this point. We've got the Thieves Guild that we've barely touched. We've got the Vigilant modded campaign, which a lot of people have asked me to do, and a lot of people have said I will enjoy. So that is something that is definitely... I think it's something I will commit to saying that we'll definitely do that. Long story short, for those who don't watch Skyrim, it's going to be another... 30 episodes. I think I kind of started recording an Isaac episode before, but I was very, very tired and could barely keep my eyes open, so I didn't end up scrapping it. But the kind of original estimate I gave for that is by July, Skyrim will be over. Ideally, early July would be my personal target. So the month of June dedicated to those 3 factions, which is as long as the Vampire Masquerade Bloodline playthrough was in its entirety, you know, an entire month on one game. But the month of June, I would love to dedicate to you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We've got the choice of Telepathy for Dummies or Big Fan. Obviously, we want to go for Big Fan. Obviously, we want to go for Big Fan. Big Fan, I would say, it's not a terrible item anyway. But to do that, I am going to have to be a bit more... It's a difficult thing to balance, because I'm going to have to be a bit more speedy about things. No, not speedy. I'm going to have a bit more haste with regards to editing, and hopefully it'll make content. Honestly, it might be a positive impact on the content, you know, editing out a lot of the, you know, Draugr dungeon number 273. Maybe doing a lot less of the, say, for example, an episode I uploaded a couple of days ago now was where we just did a load of World War quests for Arngir, which is something that's very kind of key to Skyrim, I would argue, but ended up having very little impact on the video. Well, you know, we did a couple of side quests and they didn't really do a huge amount, and that was an entire episode. That's another entire day. So, I do want to be a bit more rapid about how that's presented, but generally, when Skyrim is over, what we're going to do is try and... I'm going to only stick to one episode a day because I want to focus more on the main channel, which has very much fallen into this rut of RimWorld Central, which is fine. People enjoy that, but people aren't going to always enjoy it, and ultimately I'm not going to always enjoy it. So we need to prepare to... You know, we do need to prepare some sort of contingency plan, for lack of a better word. But I got a lot of ideas about RimWorld, a lot of different approach ideas as well, that I'm going to start kind of working on over the next couple of months. But I'll maybe talk more about that later. I don't want to talk about the main channel too much on this channel. Anyway, shit. With regards to this channel then, I want a kind of cycling series of games. And I don't just want to do, you know, from now on, Isaac every single day for the rest of time. I don't want to do Noita every single day for the rest of time. What I want to do is a cycle of games that we work through as the week progresses. You know, maybe have Isaac Mondays, Noita Tuesdays, and then we can introduce some other games. Maybe I can bring back Hollow Knight, because I feel like Hollow Knight on the Elysian Sam channel was fine. The problem with it was very difficult to focus on the gameplay and also do a Q&A and also, you know, have a conversation with Elise and be, you know, do our kind of regular stuff. But I think for this channel it will work pretty well. How does this work? Oh, it cycles through random books. Well, I want this. For sure. It doesn't take up a slot. Okay, well, I'm glad I tried it. That's good to know for the future then. So actually, spacebar items immediately become much higher tier. Because picking up spacebar items with comparison to passive items is obviously much rarer in Isaac. Well, I haven't used that yet. Well, I suppose I could have avoided, you know, the devil deal item. Glaucoma or Mum's Contacts. We will absolutely take Mum's Contacts, which is definitely an A tier item. But I do want to cycle through games on this channel. You know, like I said, a day of Isaac, a day of Noita. The only problem I can see with that is with roguelikes especially, and I'm not saying it will always be roguelikes, of course, but with roguelikes especially, the issue with that is that to get good at roguelikes, you have to play them consistently and frequently. And if I'm only getting half an hour a day to play Noita once a week, I'm not gonna get any better at Noita, you know. With Isaac, I think I've got enough knowledge of the game. I think I know everything there is more or less to know about Isaac, in some capacity or another, or at least I did know it at some point. It's lurking in my subconsciousness. I might not have the actual technical kind of responsive ability, the dexterity to play Isaac these days. Also, as a side, I am playing on the keyboard right now because my controller's downstairs because we've had guests over, obviously, over the past couple of weeks. And Smash Bros. Has been involved. So that my current PS5 controller is plugged into my Switch. Because you can use a PS5 controller with a Nintendo Switch, which is actually kind of incredible, given that I remember back in the day, you know, you buy... Ooh, Guppy's Hairball, I'll take. Money's Power or Athamate. Now, Money's Power is a very high tier item, particularly for the end floors. We'll do a Blue Baby run, by the way, with this. Same as we would with any other Tainted character, just to kind of, you know, get a good start on that. Why did I... Wait, there's an item in the library. No, there's not, is there? I think that's just where the map hasn't updated since we left the room. I'm not... Oh, fucker. Oh, wait, no, it's still here. Oh, wow. Well, let's take Belial. I am going to stick with Satanic Bible. Obviously, we are losing the boss items as a result. But honestly, Money Equals Power and Guppy's Hairball are 2 good pickups from Satanic Bible so far, so I'm alright. Well, obviously one wasn't from Satanic Bible, but... Well, you could argue that without that Black Heart, we'd have taken Red Heart damage, and thus we wouldn't have got the Devil Deal. So yes, it is thanks to Satanic Bible. I'll take no further questions. My big concern is that we built this channel on narrative games, right? And this is where you guys come in, because I'm very curious what you think about this. I'm not going to use Satanic Bible unless we have to on this floor, by the way, so don't get angry about me not using charges. The problem with this channel is we built it with narrative games. You know, we start with Morrowind. I'd say it's the first proper series. Obviously, start with KOTOR. That was back when the main channel had only like 1,000 subscribers or whatever. But Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines and Morrowind were our first 2 kind of big ones. Then, of course, we went into Oblivion, Skyrim, currently. But I would say Morrowind and Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines definitely are a bit more narrative-driven, a bit more character-focused. Skyrim is obviously more of a kind of fun mechanics and just messing around in Skyrim. You know how that is. Oblivion was a bit more narrative too. And if I then pivot to having rotating content, are we going to have time to fit in the narrative games? You know? I mean, I'm happy to do it. Like, a lot of people wanted me to play Mass Effect, especially now that we've got a remaster. That sounds great. That sounds like a pretty fun idea. The only issue is... Well, I don't know if there really is an issue in hindsight. The only issue is I feel like people wanted to watch that on a daily basis. Or would you guys be alright with that going into rotation alongside kind of roguelike games? Essentially, what I'm not really sure about is do I pivot this channel to a kind of... another library, wow. Do I pivot this channel into something for everybody? Or sticking with the theme? Honestly, I'm more inclined right now. Let's take you. Let's pop this. We got Bookworm. Very nice. Let's take this. Let's pop it again. Give me my Satanic Bible back. I want to take the regular Bible. Take it out of rotation. For sure. I like this character. Man, bookshops libraries are so much better as a result, aren't they? I mean, we could always... to be honest, the way I'm thinking of doing it is... So, obviously, yesterday, we'll address the elephant in the room. I put up a very serious... It was very serious. The most serious video I've ever made. A review of a Jar Jar Binks action figure. Now, I need to clarify. When I say it was very serious, I'm obviously joking. It was intentionally supposed to be a... it was a parody video. But I think it was convincing enough that people might have thought I was being sincere. I wasn't. I literally had a notepad document of a bunch of shit I googled before I started recording it. And I felt like I was just reading it convincingly. I actually know fucking nothing about the anime figures. I at least wanted a Kaiba figure, which he's put up pictures of on Twitter at this point. And while we were looking up this shop, which is someone we hadn't ordered from before, I was like, fuck it. I'm in for a Jar Jar Binks figure. Because they happen to have a Jar Jar Binks figure on sale. I was like, that's horrible. I love it. I want it. I had no idea, you know, I've heard of the Star Wars Black Series figures and stuff like that, but only because I watch Ashins. I've never owned one before. You know, I don't really collect figures. I've had more recently just because, you know, Lisa's been buying them and I've had a look at franchises that I've enjoyed and saying, oh, you know, that'll be cool. I bought a Gogeta from, from Dragon Ball GT, the best of all Dragon Balls. And they sent me Goku, Super Saiyan God, from Dragon Ball Super. I did prefer Super to GT. I think every sensible Dragon Ball fan would. The problem is I didn't really like the design of the Super Saiyan God Goku. Whereas the design of Gogeta is, like, absurd. Like, actually fucking tacky and ridiculous. And I like it because of that. Probably for the same reason I bought Jar Jar Binks in hindsight. But they sent me the wrong figure. But by that time, I literally opened the box and cracked open the first layer of plastic. And then I was like, hang on a minute. This isn't the figure I opened. By that point, I thought it was probably too late to ask for a return because I've already opened it. So I guess I'm stuck with that now. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike it. It's just it's not the one I wanted. I like the tacky things. Anyway, I can't remember how we got on this tangent. Oh, right, yeah. So, of course, I put up my my Jar Jar Binks, my very serious Jar Jar Binks review, which was intended as parody that I feel like was kind of lost on a few people. Never mind. And obviously we put up the Duolingo video this week as well. I would love to. So here's the plan then. With that in mind, the stuff I've just talked about, right? One day a week. Okay, so first day of the week, say Monday, we do Isaac, right? Second day we go for Noita, and obviously those will cycle out as well, depending on what we're doing at the time. You know, maybe I will get bored of Isaac again, and we'll say no more Isaac. And then we'll swap out for a different game. We could do like Isaac, then Noita, then a narrative game. So we could do Mass Effect. That's still 2 episodes a week of Mass Effect, but we can make the episodes longer. Because that's the problem for me. It's not necessarily the fact that, it's not necessarily the fact that I can't dedicate a single hour a day. The problem for me, and definitely the lengthening of episodes, and the problem with doing variety content, I'm going to take Dead Onion, I think, is that, it's the time spent rendering and editing and uploading and managing that much content, you know? Thumbnails and tags and descriptions and all that crap. If I'm just doing, you know, like Noita and Isaac are very, very easy to record and upload. You sit there, you hit the record button, 30 minutes later, you've got an episode. I'm so lost. I'm so sorry. You've got an episode. That's it, done. You know, the thumbnail, I literally have a macro to iterate that. It genuinely takes 5 seconds to make an Isaac thumbnail. I open Photoshop, I press F2, F3, thumbnail's done. That's it. That's the whole extent of an Isaac thumbnail. So to actually record Isaac, I mean, I directly upload it. I don't re-render the video or anything like that. The amount of actual time I personally invest into it is about 33 minutes a day. And that's very easy. That's very straightforward for me. I am so fucking lost. Ah. It's okay. I found it. Don't worry. So that's very, very easy to do. Same with Noita. You know, it's about 33 minutes a day worth of stuff. So to say that for like one day, even say like Skyrim right now, takes shit like hours, you know, like hours on end. For me, even doing say an hour every 2 days of a Mass Effect playthrough, or sorry, an hour a day for 2 days a week of a Mass Effect playthrough, is still going to save me so much time. And I think it would hopefully give you guys some variety. So if you like that idea, let me know. And then on Sundays, so, you know, say, again, for example, Isaac Monday, Noita Tuesday, Mass Effect Wednesday. I'm not saying we're going to do Mass Effect, I'm just using that as an example because it's a strong possibility. Then Isaac again Thursday, Noita Friday, Isaac Saturday, and then end it with a silly comedy video on Sunday if I've got something in mind. I won't force it. Maybe I'll just take a day off. But, you know, if we've got room, that'd be the slot for the comedy video. I'm sure I could come up with some silly 30-minute video over the course of the week. Like the Duolingo video, obviously had a lot of editing, but didn't really take that long. Divorce Papers, which is like an insane tears up. Or you could have gotten, literally a health upgrade. That's horrible. This character's fine as long as you're actually kind of fully aware when you're in boss fights and, you know, I'm not in like autopilot YouTuber mode. Anyway, that's my plan for this channel, so let me know what you think. I think, honestly, it could be a lot of fun. It'll keep things nice and varied for me, and keep me nice and interested. I'm not going to get burnt out. Like, with Skyrim, I'm not, again, not necessarily burnt out, but it is... I do feel like it's... doing it daily the way I am is not really presenting it in its best light. Like, for me, just having that mental refresher of a day in between would be great, because, you know, I could get some goals in mind. I don't have to, you know, think about the schedule so actively in my mind. But, I mean, even though this will be a huge amount of varied content, I'm hoping it will be, you know, it will ultimately save me time, and I'm hoping for you guys it'll be more entertaining that way too. Because, again, there is something for everybody. Again, I apologize if you are someone who's maybe more narratively inclined to like the long-form RPGs, and there would only be, you know, 2 episodes a week as opposed to Skyrim right now where there are... Yeah, I don't think I really want either of these. We've got to replace... I don't want to replace any of these for any of those. Sorry. I was thinking maybe Dead Onion for Ghost Baby, but that's about it. Even that's not a good sale. Dead Onion's fine. Dead Onion's okay, particularly with the particularly with Bookworm and the ability to freeze enemies with our tears. It's kind of a weirdly nice combo. Because we can just have a load of lingering shots of freeze through the air. Exactly like that. That really did just prove my point entirely. It's quite a nice combo. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's really all I want to hear. And this isn't some very cynical way. Well, you might if you're that inclined. This isn't some cynical jab to try and get you guys to leave comments or whatever. But I do genuinely want to hear from people. If there are those of you who perhaps don't even comment and just kind of watch along, you guys are the ones I want to hear from the most. Because you're the ones I worry about the most because I never hear from you. You never call. So get in touch. And again, if you think it is some sort of thing that could grab, feel free to, you know, go into the video discussion on Discord and have a chat there. But I think that could be a lot of fun. And I think it gives me an excuse to do a lot of variety content. Content that I should be doing on the main channel, but you know how it is. With regards to the main channel too, I'm going to start doing quote-unquote more YouTube-y style content there. Oh, fuck. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Do you want to swap out? Would I trade any of those for Big Fan? Honestly, probably not. I don't know. Put Mum's Pearls down. There's a range and a lock upgrade. I mean, that or projectile defense. Honestly, I think I would prefer Big Fan. Gimpy, though. Gimpy versus the map is what I'm thinking here. Gimpy versus Big Fan. I mean, they're both survivability items. The map is nice to have, but not necessary. That one's for you, the devil. That one is for you, Satan. So, let's backtrack now and get all these battery charges for Book of Satan, is what I was about to call it. You know what I mean. I'm going to do more YouTube content on the main channel, which is coming up with hopefully interesting video concepts. I've got a very silly one in mind for Crusader Kings 3. It's very silly, and it might only be like a 3-episode series, and an episode only might come out once a week. Just so people don't get burnt out with the concept, so I can put enough time. See, the very much the problem is when you do long-form series on YouTube, like what I do, I accept that there are going to be a few burner episodes in a series, but one bad episode is all it really takes for someone to turn off. I know it would for me personally. Like for Rimworld, you accept there are a few burner episodes where you've just got to, you know, mine resources all episode and get some research done or whatever, and I would love to do it so that instead every episode is its own little kind of mini standalone thing. It's something that could stand by itself. And obviously with something like Rimworld, that's not possible. But for CK3, there's no reason I can't do a 30-second recap at the start of each episode in a kind of, you know, funny, fast-edited way to get people involved back on, you know, back on the series and spread it out over a longer period where I could, you know, put a bit more emphasis on the quality or whatever. But this CK3 series I've got is a very silly idea. Here's what I will say. Is the name, the name concept of the series is very simply, ooh. No, that's not the name of it. Sorry, I'm thinking of the items. Although that would be good. Just upload a video called Ooh. It's very simply called The Keys to Rome. And that's all I'm telling you. It's up to you to decide what exactly that means. You know, if anyone can fucking guess, I will dedicate the first episode of that series when I get around to make it to you. How about that? Because you will not guess. Do we want to swap out? Here's the plan then. Go for a real variation on our current build. Dead Onion for Torn Photo. I think so. Higher tears rate. More chance of freezing on the enemies. Obviously, I've got to be more accurate now because the tears don't linger as they did before. But I think overall, it could work pretty well. We're doing Blue Baby. Right. I would love to do like the Kenshi series, for example. I think it's a good example of what I could do. Granted, I didn't do so super well in Kenshi. But exactly what I'm talking about, whereby every episode by itself is part of a bigger series, but makes for standalone content. Rimworld, it doesn't really work, because you know, you wouldn't jump in episode 15 of a Rimworld playthrough, because you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Why have they got, you know, a room behind their freezer where they're breeding people to eat in a restaurant? What, you know, who's this character? Why is there a Stegosaurus doing research, etc., etc.? You know, I can't do a recap on a daily basis. That would be absurd. With Kenshi, it worked pretty well, because the concept was very simple. And even if I only got one episode a week out of a series like that, I think that could be a lot of fun. And even then, we could have multiple series on the go at once. We could have Kenshi coming out a Wednesday, and then next Thursday a CK2 series, or a CK3 series, sorry, and then come back to Kenshi after that, and then obviously keep the daily Rimworld. I need to emphasize that, because people always panic when I talk like this. Daily Rimworld is not going anywhere. Don't panic. Not for a long time. What I actually want to do, actually with regards to Rumble, then we could bring up something that I've been thinking about. Basically, I'm trying to vary content a little bit. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel too much, but I want to slowly transition into a bit more of kind of YouTube content. Because, well, that's what does well on YouTube, and the space is very competitive these days. A lot of high-quality content coming out from a lot of good people. And what I am is quantity over quality, with, I think, maybe a slight bit of quality still in there, but mostly emphasis on the quantity, which is great, because it means that there's always something for people to watch, kind of have on mindlessly in the background as they do something else. But I do want to build up a bit more, honestly, of a brand. You know, I want to build up a brand. And that's not what I've got right now. What I've got is just me playing games. So, and then I can break through into my acting career, which is really all I'm here for. On the subject of that, I shouldn't even say it as a joke, really. I shouldn't even bring it up. On the subject of that, someone has apparently in my Discord commissioned a fan fiction to be written of me, which is firstly a horrifying concept and towing dangerously close to the line of my personal discomfort. But as long as it's done in good faith, I really don't mind. For this particular person, it's a case-by-case basis. For the most part, I would please say don't have fanfics commissioned of me, because that's a slippery slope to, well, a slippery slope in more ways than metaphorically. So, anyway, somebody said, are you going to voice act the, let's not say voice act, narrate the fanfic? And I feel like it's my duty, my obligation. As me, like, simultaneously, I don't want to encourage this. Also, I am going to give this my best shot. This is going to be Shakespearean. I want people shedding a fucking tear over this fanfic, and if they don't, I've done something wrong there. That's on me. Not the writer, not the commissioner. That's on me. So, yeah. I don't remember how I quite got on that topic. All right, of course, breaking through into my acting career, which I'm definitely going to do. And then I can put in my bio, voice actor, even though all I've done is a fan project I myself wrote and directed, and it was bad and didn't get any views. But because I did it, I can say that I've done it. And it's that not all that matters. So we could potentially get... Look, I think Guppy Dreams are unlikely. I, personally, think let's swap Guppy's hairball out for Speedball. Right? Because that way we're almost spun. I wonder if transformations persist after you drop an item. They generally tend to. Ceremonial robes would be big. What would I trade for ceremonial robes? Oh, it's a damage upgrade. +1 damage specifically, which is pretty massive. I would actually swap Speedball out for that. Maybe Big Fan? I love you, Big Fan, but I'm not really taking much damage. I'm actually not playing too badly today, so we're going to do that. We are going to take the ceremonial robes. We're going to leave Guppy's hairball because we are at the depths 1. There is potentially 3 more deals with the devil. The chance of getting Guppy is exceptionally slim. Particularly as we've avoided many curse rooms as well. So, I think it's worth it. I should have committed to curse rooms the second we got the first Guppy item. But, you know, I've done it now. Here we are. Generally, I'm open to suggestions from you guys. I always am. You know, I always am, because it takes the guessing work out for me. I'm up to experiment a little bit more this year with just the kind of channel as a whole. I think there's a firm foundation, especially provided by Patreon, and that's not a plug. That's a sincere thanks. You know, where I don't have to worry about, you know, if I do a video and it is a dud. You know, oh, well, this month I can't pay fucking rent, so I'm just not going to experiment. We can do that. We can be silly with it. And I think I hope at this point, at least, I've proven I'm capable of doing some silly things when I do edited content. I won't dare call it comedy. But, you know, I can do more comedic content. I'd like to explore that a bit more. I'd like to give it a real opportunity to flourish, because right now I'm just kind of done it as a funny side bit, but not as the main feature. And I think I would like to try it as the main feature, rather than an amuse-bouche. Now it's going to be the full-on French for main course. I'm well aware that amuse-bouche is not French for starter. Thank you. If you've seen my Duolingo video, you know I am basically fluent in French. Apparently, somebody said that they did the placement test for English, and they are a native English speaker, and I somehow did better in the French placement test than they did in English placement test as a native English speaker. What I'm getting at here, and please don't tell the legal team, is I think Duolingo... oh, maybe... Shit, I mean, this is quite a good run. What I think is Duolingo might be shit and a pretty poor judge of character. I know a lot of people have also said that Duolingo is pretty horrible for learning language. I can't attest to that. I've never really seriously tried to learn a language. I've occasionally, you know, I've done a couple of, since I've left school anyway, I did some kind of brief looks at some Scandinavian languages. More specifically, I did Norwegian because it's got the highest mutual intelligibility with the other Scandinavian languages as opposed to Danish, which is great if you want to, you know, speak Danish. Not so good if you want to speak any other Scandinavian language. But, you know, if you do know, apparently, again, this is just what I've read. You know, if you do know Norwegian, you can understand to some extent Swedish and Danish pretty decently. There's actually a Wikipedia like graph of mutual intelligibility, and for like both comprehension, reading, and writing, Norwegian is way higher than both of the others. I don't know why it works like that, but it does. Just do be. I like Daddy Longlegs. I don't think either of these items are good enough to swap out anything we've got here. Do I want to hold on for Spun? Well, I think the simple answer is if we don't get it this floor, which we can't, with our next opportunity then comes with the Womb, at which point we can also get Death or Conquest. So it's a lower chance of occurring. I think I'm also probably going to avoid the shop on this floor because we've got money equals power. We are going to go blue, baby. I think Tainted Isaac is a powerful character. The ability to curate your run like this and also gain some utility benefit in the form of things like, well, libraries. That was unfortunate. The things like libraries is very, very good. I don't want anything here. I was just checking in case it was greed, to be honest with you. Only 8 items really isn't a big deal, because as we've seen, honestly, Isaac, single items, depending on what you get, can win the game. So being limited to only 8 items really isn't a big deal. As long as you can survive the first few floors, as long as you get something under your belt. I suppose at that point you haven't got to worry about the 8 item limit, right? It could be a real big problem if you're going for, say a Dogma run, or one of the harder runs. A Hush and, yeah, that other boss, Delirium. Then I guess it could be kind of hard, because you want a lot of survivability, and you do need the damage, and you want a bit of utility there as well. So you're going down to the chest, obviously you need some keys there, but I would never take bag of keys, or sack of keys, I should say, over any other item we've got right now. Your contracts from below, your Steam sales and everything, I feel like become very much items you just straight up would never take in this, because how can you justify getting 50% off all shops when you've only got 8 items, you know? Great, I've got to buy an item from the shop to then allow me to buy items from the shop cheaper. You would just never do it. Certain items are just a non-taker at this point. Ooh, horrible. To be fair, at this point, I'm happy to go Satanic Bible because, let's be honest, the run's good enough to win, as long as I don't make too many mistakes. And getting to the boss fight on these larger floors, we're going to be able to generate 3 black hearts along the way. When you factor in, you know, your average battery drops and whatever. So, I think we're probably going to be fine to use that and still get the item if we want the item. And again, we're full up of items too, so chances are we're not even going to want the item. It has to be pretty good to replace any of the items we've got right now, in my opinion. Granted, I've got to be a lot better than this. This is bad. Granted, if we do get a needle, though, that's going to be kind of hard. I'm hoping it's, if we got, like, Roid Rage. Is it Roid Rage? The purple. This is how much Isaac I know. You just know them by... Shit. It's terrible. You just know it by what they do, which is, you know, purple one gives damage. If we get purple needle, I'm in for that. Any other needle, hard to sell. Granted, we get spun, so really didn't make any sense. That point I just made there. Please ignore me. Although that would be good, though, because then we get the damage and we get the... Well, actually, I don't know. What would I swap out? I'd probably just end up swapping it for another... I mean, all our items are good. They're pretty much all DPS or survivability in some way or another. Fuck, that was close. I've trained myself now not to use Satanic Bible. I think I might have missed a charge in that mob trap room. Let's play a bit more carefully now. Head in the game. It's because I'm not playing with a controller. I trained myself to use a controller for all those episodes. And all my keyboard skills diminished as a result. And now I'm back playing keyboard because can't be bothered to go downstairs and get a controller. What a tight schedule. You know how it is. But I do want to distract a little bit, sorry, to kind of completely explain why I'm doing this. The main channel, for a period, honestly started taking longer than the second channel. Particularly because Skyrim, you know, it has dawned on me very clearly at this point that it's going to be a long series. And I needed to put in some editing, which with Oblivion and Morrowind, we didn't necessarily need to do, because it's just Oblivion and Morrowind, isn't it? And with Mass Effect, you probably wouldn't need to do it with Mass Effect either. Because it's a video game that's designed to... You know, there's not really much downtime or busy work. It's designed to hold your attention, even though it is an RPG. Whereas Morrowind and Oblivion, we were doing kind of silly things on the side. Trying to get... and more importantly, we're trying to do everything. Fuck! If I lose this, I'm actually going to quit Isaac and I'm never going to play it again. So I might solve my own argument, to be honest with you. This is like such terribly poor play. I haven't played it in quite a while. And again, I'm on a fucking keyboard now. Yeah, I mean, we weren't trying to do everything, and that's something we won't be doing with Mass Effects and shit like that. It would just be nice not to edit content for this channel, and then I could actually put more effort in the main channel again. So that's the goal. Not to mention the fact the last 2 weeks have been just like the busiest ever. Like, actually the busiest weeks I think I've ever had in my whole life, and that is not even a joke. I don't think. That genuinely might be very sincerely true. So, just to cover why obviously the Isaac content has been lacking recently. So, to reiterate for the 100th time, because people still ask me why we had Christmas in May, whenever I bring it up, which is a valid question, but I have said it many, many times at this point. We had Christmas in May, because the lockdown in the UK, national lockdown, because of the coronavirus pandemic, if you're aware of it, has started to subside. Maybe temporarily, but we'll see. And you're finally allowed to have more than one household in a privately owned property. Before, you were allowed to meet in an open public area like a park or whatever, but you know, that's obviously not good if my parents traveling halfway across the country to then sit in a park. That's not a good time investment. So anyway, we haven't seen like a lot of members of my family, and I still haven't seen a lot of members of my family, particularly like my grandparents who are too ill to travel. And we've not been able to travel either. I haven't seen them for pretty much 2 years at this point. So the lockdown ended, and my parents came to visit at the start of like 2 weeks ago. Then after that, one of my friends was like, "Hey, I'm just happen to be free this weekend. Are you guys good with that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's pretty close to my parents visiting, but I can make it work. You know, I can record enough content to make this work. I just have to space things out a little bit, maybe cut back on some of the second channel content, especially as I did. But it should work." Then after that, another friend I was planning on seeing in June originally messaged me and was like, "Hey, I can't do June anymore. Are you free? You know, sorry for the early notice. Are you free like quite literally this weekend?" And I was like, this was just after what my other friend from uni had left, and well, not like from uni. We lived together in uni, but just to give it some sort of classification there, he left like 2 days before, and then I had to record another 3 days of content. Remember what I said, where I was like, "Oh, we'll be able to get enough hearts to get that deal with the devil." I mean, we could take Marked, or the Mark. A little dangerous, but doable. Actually, like, extremely dangerous. Come on. Oh, the pedestal killed me! Because we swapped an item out. Motherfucker. Okay, well, that's something to bear in mind for that character in the future, isn't it? Oh, that sucks. I completely didn't think about that. You pick up a passive item, the pedestal spawns. Knocks you back into the spikes. Ah. What I thought was a clever play just to basically get some free damage actually ended up biting us in the arse. Anyway, let me some feedback. That's the important part of this episode. Let me some feedback. And we won't start doing that till probably July anyway, like I said. And I'll make a big announcement when we do the kind of reshuffle and whatnot of the content. But it's just kind of part of the overall rebrand, really. Just trying to get something going there that's a bit more substantial. So that when I say to people, you know, what do you do for a living? I can say, you know, like, I make videos. I make content rather than just I play RimWorld, which is not really a saleable skill for when the YouTube bubble eventually bursts. Bye.